There you go. So we obviously we just had spring ball. We had the spring game, and so kind of looking at the entirety of that, and kind of some of the people that we've been hearing have stood out. One that I wanted to share, Alex Orji. I've been on the Alex Orji train for a bit. And Donovan Edwards seems to also be on the Alex Orji train, because recently, as in the last couple of days, he said, Alex Orji is in the lead in the quarterback competition. And I think that that's the first time someone has outright said that he's in the, maybe not, but that's the first time I've heard like, oh yeah, he's in the lead. He is ahead right now. And maybe because they wanted to keep it like, as close to the cards as close to the vest as they could. But I think that when you utilize a player in the Ohio State game, in the Alabama game, in the Washington game, you're probably planning on utilizing him again against Fresno State.
Right. Yeah, no, Orji, Orji, I agree with you. I mean, they obviously they value Orji. I think they understand what he can be. They understand his potential, especially if they can develop it to what it could be. They're definitely invested in Orji, and I think you can see that right away. I do, I've heard, what's interesting, because I've heard some recent smoke about Jack Tuttle, even though he's still coming back from injury. I am not on the Jack Tuttle train at all. If Jack Tuttle is our starting quarterback, and I know I might get some pushback in the comments, and that's okay, because you can express that pushback on the call-in show on Thursdays. And
yes.
We will be here.
Call in.
Yeah, we will be here for it. But yeah, man, I mean, I have heard some smoke that like, oh, don't be surprised if Jack Tuttle's the leader after fall camp. I would be surprised. I think Orji is probably, it is probably his job, but like, let's not also forget Davis Warren is battling for that position, and he did a hell of a job in the spring game.
It's true. And Antoine has been saying for the last couple of days about the RPOs that we should be expecting to see with Alex Orji, kind of running the Ravens or something like that on offense, like we do on defense, and like they do with Lamar. I don't think it's going to be quite that quite to that level, but I do think they're going to adapt the offense a bit and add some more option concepts for sure.
They've already confirmed that whoever the quarterback is, they will adapt the offense, so the playbook. So we'll just have to wait and see. That's why, fall camp's going to be like, it's going to be good, man, because we're going to be like just wanting, like, how they don't like leak anything. We're going to be like, I don't know, like dehydrated, like children just looking for water, dude. Like, give us the QB notes. Let us know what's going on, But yeah, man, I mean, it should be a good battle.
And Sharon Moore did say that a key criteria for who he's going to pick as the starting quarterback is ability to run the entire offense. He said that, I think it was Rich Eisen. It was one of them. And he said a big criteria, you've got to be able to run the entire offense. And you could make your inferences, your judgments there, whether it's Alex Orji on the deep ball, whether it's Davis Warren maybe on the running ability questionable, but maybe there's something to read into there as well, because it just seems like Alex Orji, if they can get the pass, to our magic number of 62%, then it seems like it's a no-brainer there.
Yeah, I mean, if I'll tell you, if he could hit 62 with his running ability, we will be okay. And with the defense and the running game, we will be okay. Like, there's a reason why I've very publicly said 62%, because when you look at the quarterbacks below that number or below 60%, like an Anthony Richardson when he was at Florida, or even a Josh Allen when he was at Wyoming, that people don't know, Josh Allen's accuracy in college was terrible. He just had the tools and obviously the ability. He became accurate in the NFL, and that's very rare, by the way. That's not common. So, when you have a quarterback doing 62, typically they have offenses that are like top 40, you can have like a top 40, top 35 offense in college football. And I believe with our defense and our running game, if we can get our passing game into the top 40, that's enough for us to be not only a playoff team, but a Big Ten contender for the championship. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, and if we look at spring game statistics, he is a 60, he's like a 70% quarterback. So, if he can pull it off, man, we'll be okay.
Absolutely. And obviously, he wasn't the only standout. We also had some others, and I believe Zeke Berry's one that came up in our conversation a little bit there.
Yeah.
Zeke Berry obviously has had some pretty good moments in the spring game, and apparently he's taking on a leadership role with the team this year.
Yeah, Zeke Berry seems to be like the one that's thriving the most. His name appears to be just going up the depth chart. I mean, obviously they're moving him to nickelback. That's how much they think of him. And I think Zeke Berry is going to be a player this next season. That's what I love about college football, man. You see these kids develop. You watch their recruitment. You see them maybe play special teams or have a small role, and then they really develop, man. And then I do think Zeke Berry is going to be a breakout player next season.
Yeah, and look at what Sanders still did in the nickel back position. I mean, you
Yep.
could really make some plays in that role. So that could be there. And then for CB2, then if Zeke Berry's going to be in the nickel back position, we were talking about this offline too. Who might be CB2, and it may not be McBurrows.
Well, yeah. So Jair Hill, I mean,
Jair Hill.
with DJ Waller unfortunately transferring, another one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with him unfortunately transferring, Jair Hill, in my opinion, from everything I've heard and I've gathered, he probably is the leader. But they're gonna say, look, there's a competition in the fall. Jaden McDermott is gonna be able to battle. We'll see if I mean, Edmonds was a big time recruit last class. I mean, it's just so rare for a freshman corner to have an impact his first season. It took Will Johnson, who was an elite recruit coming out of high school, almost an entire season before he started making impact on the field. And there's just such a learning curve at that position. So Edmonds, we'll see if he can if he can compete for the position. I'm a little skeptical with that, but I mean, we'll just have to see, man. I mean, I do think the second cornerback position could be a potential concern. It could be a weak point, but I mean, let's also be honest. The roster doesn't have really any weak points, and most teams have weak points. The fact that Michigan's roster, and this is true, even after 13 players drafted, is a damn good roster. We're very strong, man. It's just we do have a position which is CB2, which maybe Jair Hill is a dog, dude. Like he might be. He's extremely athletic, extremely gifted. He very well could be a shutdown corner. So we're just gonna have to wait and see.
I think if we're rolling with Jair Hill at CB2 and Zeke Berry, I think we're fine, honestly. Would I like to see maybe somebody coming in through the transfer portal, if nothing else, as a relief pitcher?
Right.
Because you got to be. The system does rely on being able to rotate people in and out, right? It's not the same people every single time because people get tired.
Right.
And you want to be able to keep people somewhat fresh. I mean, you do the best you can. So it would be nice to maybe get a little bit of depth, if nothing else, even if they're not the starter. So TBD.
Yep. We'll have to wait and see.